Hi everyone, welcome to Julie B Yoga. I'm Julie B. Let's do some yoga. For today, we're going to do a style of practice called Hatha. Hatha meaning the sun and the moon in Sanskrit. And it's a really balancing type of yoga. So if you're ever feeling a little bit out of line, this also tends to be a little slower and sometimes a little bit more gentle of a practice. So if you're newer to yoga or haven't been in a while, this could be a good technique for you to try. I would suggest a few props today if you have them, a mat or practicing on a rug, if you have access to blocks or anything that could be used like a block, and if you have blankets, maybe folded up big towel, bolster, pillow, anything like that could be helpful. So let's start in a comfortable seated pose with our hips elevated. You can either sit on a blanket, bolster, or block, crisscross, or you can sit back on your shins, whatever is a little bit more comfortable for you. If you'd like to try sitting on your shins and that's a little bit tough on you typically, maybe you can try sitting on a block or something underneath. Take a moment to get settled. Maybe a little bit of shake out of whatever it is, energy you might be coming to the mat with today. And let's do a few cleansing breaths. Inhale and bring your shoulders towards your ears and exhale, let it go. Inhale, shoulders up and exhale, let it go. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let it go. And one more time. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let it go. Inhale and start to look up. And exhale, look down. Getting a gentle neck stretch here. Almost like you're really slowly nodding yes. And then come back to center, just looking forward. This time inhale and look one way and exhale. Inhale and on your exhale look the other way. So this time it's almost like you're really slowly shaking your head no. One more time in each direction. Bring your hands together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. Rub them a little bit to get some heat and energy. Breathe in and exhale, come to stillness. Maybe soften down the gaze or even completely close the eyes. But keep breathing. On your next inhale, start to lower and spread your arms, palms facing me, all the way up. Maybe hands kiss. And exhale, hands to heart center. Nice slow exhale. Inhale, arms up and out. Exhale, hands down to heart center. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Maybe they kiss at the palms at the top. And exhale, nice and slow, back to center. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, drop your left arm and start to lean towards that side. And stretch your right arm up and diagonally overhead. You should feel a nice side body stretch on your right side. Take a few breaths in this posture. Inhale, arms up, and exhale back to center. Unlike a vinyasa flow class, we're going to go slow and pause between our poses. Inhale both arms up. Now drop your opposite arm. This should be your right arm down and left arm up. Look up a little bit and stretch that left arm kind of diagonally overhead. Now you should feel it in the other side body. And breathe. This is seated moon pose or Chandrasana. Inhale, arms up, and exhale to heart center, to your lap. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, your left arm back behind you. Fingers kind of tented. Going to be like a stand for your arms, like a little tripod. Nice and tall. Inhale, and on your exhale, drop your opposite front arm to the opposite thigh or knee. Inhale, nice and tall, and then exhale, start to twist from your waist towards your left. Look a little bit in that direction, but don't do too much that you strain. And exhale back to center and pause here. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale with those tented fingers behind you like a tripod or kickstand. Your right arm behind you. Inhale nice and tall, and exhale, drop your left hand to the opposite knee or thigh. Inhale nice and tall, and on your exhale, start to twist to your right. Keep breathing. Inhale, unwind, back to center and pause. We're going to sit on our bottoms now with our feet in a diamond shape. It can be wide if that's more comfortable for you, or tucked in a little bit more. Either way, just find a spot that you feel a little bit of a stretch but no pain. If you're someone who tends to round over like myself, I do suggest you sit on something like a folded up blanket or a small pillow or a towel. So if you elevate your hips a little bit, it helps tilt your pelvis a little bit forward and helps our back and neck stay nice and straight. Inhale nice and tall, and then exhale. Try to hold on to your feet somewhere and start to fold forward, not very far though. You want to keep a straight back at first. We go slow in Hatha, and we let our body settle at its own pace. Nice inhale, stretch tall, and exhale, maybe fold a little bit more. Inhale and bow the most that you can without any pain. If you're finding your forearms on your shins, if that works for you, you can gently press to have a little bit more of an inner thigh and inner hip stretch, and bow your head and breathe. On your inhale, start to sit up. You can use your hands to help you. Bring your knees together, legs out front, and give them a little shake out. Bring one foot inside with the sole of the foot against your thigh. Sitting nice and tall. Inhale up and exhale, start to fold towards your straightened leg. The intention is just that our chest is moving forward. We're getting a stretch in the back of our leg and also on our back. If you were just clenching your knee and hyperextending like I was, try to breathe and release that. Anyone who's maybe hypermobile and hyperextends, you might actually even want to try to have a prop underneath your knee so you don't hyperextend. And slowly with your inhale, come up. Switch legs. So the one that was straightened comes bent in. The one that was bent in straightens out. Sit up tall. Inhale in and exhale, fold. Think hinging at your waist, trying to keep at first a flatter back. If you're hyperextending on your knee like me, you might want to try something under your knee. Inhale up, and on your exhale, bow forward, and a little bit of a roundness to the back here is okay. On your next inhale, use your fingers, start to engage your core and sit up tall. And bring your other leg in. Maybe wiggle it out a little bit. And we're gonna go at a V, legs out wide. It doesn't really matter how wide or narrow your legs are, as long as they're apart to some degree, that you're feeling a stretch without any pinching or pain. And again, if you need any props underneath your knees, that's totally fine. Trying to sit up tall. Inhale up first, and then exhale, start to hinge forward. And take a few moments before you start to bow more. To engage your legs a little bit more, you can have your toes pointing towards the ceiling. If you're very tight in the back of your legs, that might be a little intense, so maybe not quite as much. Play around and see what feels good for your body today. If you're clenching any of your muscles, inhale and exhale, let it go. Inhale, engage your core, walk back up to center. Maybe use your arms to help bring your legs in, and again, wiggle it out. You can also give your feet a little bit of love, maybe some ankle rolls, maybe even a little bit of wrist rolls while we're here, as we're about to go onto all fours. So if you had a prop underneath you, you can remove that out of your way and make your way carefully onto all fours. We want our knees about hip width apart, right underneath our hips. We want our arms just about shoulder width apart, right underneath our shoulders, stacked in line with our elbows, stacked in line with our wrists. Nice wide hands, pressing it on all pads of our fingers so we reduce our wrist pain. Let's start with some cat-cows, or really rather cow-cats. Inhale and arch your back. You're gonna kind of point your butt up and start to look up. And then exhale, start to round your back and look down. Inhale, look up, cow. Exhale, round down, cat. Inhale, round, look up. Exhale, look down, round your back, cat. 2 more at your own pace. One more. And then come back to neutral. You can let your big toes touch and breathe and start to lower your buttocks towards your feet. Back into child's pose and take a few breaths there. Inhale back up onto all fours. Thread the needle next. I suggest to move your right hand a little bit forward and maybe even a little bit in towards your body. Inhale your left arm under and thread it through the whole of your body and your arm. Then lower your body down. Your shoulder, left shoulder and left side of your face comes down. You can keep your right arm up to help prop you up, or if you want a little bit more of a side stretch, you can extend that arm forward. Take some nice slow breaths here. Get your right arm back under your right shoulder. Inhale the left arm up and exhale back to the mat. Now we'll do the opposite arms. So your left hand a little bit forward and maybe a little bit at an angle in. Inhale your right arm up and exhale through the needle, landing the right side of your cheek and your shoulder on the mat, and keep breathing. You can keep that left arm as is, like a stand, or straighten it at this time. Bring that left arm underneath you. Inhale the right arm up and exhale it down. Go ahead and sit back into child's pose for a few more breaths. Inhale back up to neutral. Tuck your toes. Engage your core muscles. Inhale and lift your knees off the mat and hover for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you can start walking your feet towards your hands for a forward fold. At this time, especially since it's our first one, if you'd like to use any blocks or other props you have, you can also use a sturdy chair, maybe a side of a bed, counter, something like that. And at first, we'll do a nice wide stance forward fold. You can come to stillness or maybe sway a little. Maybe bend one knee at a time, pedal it out, and then everyone come to stillness. If you're able to reach the ground with ease, that's fine. Otherwise, if you have any blocks you can use, that'd be great. Inhale and bend your knees generously so that you can bring your chest up. Try to have as flat as the back as possible and look up. Inhale and then exhale. Straighten your knees at least to some extent that you can and fold forward. Exhale. Full breath cycle here. Inhale, bend your knees. Start to come up. Take an inhale and exhale here. Inhale, and on your exhale, straighten your legs and fold forward. Inhale and exhale. On your inhale, bend your knees. Straighten your back, look up. And exhale, straighten your legs and fold forward. You can move your blocks to the side and slow, 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 start to make your way up. Maybe shake it out a little bit. All right, so we already did one half moon seated. We can also do a moon pose standing as well. So feet about hip width apart or a little closer if that's comfortable for you. Nice, solid, firm grounding. Soft, gentle bend in the knees, but otherwise fairly straight legs. Engage the thighs so that you're not hyperextending those knees. Tailbone and pelvis kind of moving down and forward. Shoulders down and back. Palms forward. Take a breath here in mountain pose first. Keep your body as is and inhale your arms up. Exhale and start moving towards one side. Kick your hips out to your right and lower your left arm along your opposite leg, along your left leg, and push against it. See how we're making kind of a crescent moon shape with our body. Breathe in and out. Inhale both arms up. Exhale both arms down. Inhale both arms up. We'll switch sides. Exhale your right arm down and pushing against your right leg, bumping your opposite hip towards the side of the room, and starting to move our top arm a little bit, making that crescent moon shape. Take some in and out breaths here. Inhale both arms up. Exhale both arms down. So we've done a few moon poses. Let's do some sun salutations. So in our nice strong standing pose, you're gonna inhale arms up, exhale them swan dive out and down. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, try to straighten your back and look up a little bit. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up and around. exhale, hands at heart center, excuse me. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down and around, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, try to flatten your back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, I like to bend my knees here, and then exhale, come on up. Hands at heart center. Let's do that one more time, but we're gonna plant our palms partway through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, around and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your palms and land on your knees. If you have any blocks, you might want some. I would suggest 2, 1 on either side of your mat. Your hands can go on them at whatever height you prefer. Let's bring our right foot forward, and it's going to be inside the block at first. Our left leg should be nice and long, and the top of our foot is down on the mat or rug. Lean forward a little bit for a runner's lunge. Maybe even tent your hands to come up a little bit higher. If you're long enough and flexible enough, you can do this on the ground. But I'm short and inflexible, so I use blocks. Bring the floor to you if you need. Look forward, shoulders down, and breathe. Inhale and start shifting your weight back. You can even start peeling up your right toes off the mat a little bit. Now we're going into half split, which is a hamstring behind the leg stretch. Several breaths here. Inhale and come back to your runner's lunge. I would suggest either just use the floor here, or I would suggest to flatten your left block and put it to the left of your right foot. You're going to place the palm of your hand on that with your fingers nice and wide, and inhale your right shoulder up. So you're twisting here. Inhale and exhale. If you'd like a little more of a challenge, you can tuck your toes, engage your core and legs, and on an inhale, straighten and lift off that knee of the back leg. Keep breathing. If your knee was up, lower it down. Exhale, wind back down. This time, move the block to the inside of your right foot and bring your foot out a little bit wider. You can flatten your back foot. You can even let your right knee come out a little bit. Inhale and exhale. Start to move forward. Lower your chest towards the floor for lizard lunge. You should feel this especially in your inner groin and hip area. You can stay tall, or if you would like a little bit more of a stretch, and I do suggest block or bolster or something, you can start to lower onto your forearms. Are you breathing? Inhale and come up. And swing that right foot back, and let's go back into a child's pose here for some rest. Okay, let's inhale and switch to the other side. So this time blocks, if you're using them, are towards the outside of the mat. Inhale, exhale, and bring your left foot forward. So again, my foot is on the inside of my blocks for runner's lunge. Now my right leg is back, parallel to the mat, and my top of my foot is flat on the mat. Start to come forward a little bit with your weight, so you start to feel this in your inner thighs and groin and hip area. If you're using blocks, whatever height's comfortable for you. Inhale at first tall, just to get used to the pose. Hatha is all about slowing down. And as your body settles, if you want to lower a little bit, you may, or bow. On your next inhale, start shifting your weight back. So your buttocks is moving towards your back foot. Your front foot is starting to peel the toes off the mat. Bow and bend forward. You should really feel this in your your right thigh. Nope, your left. I was right the first time. Keep breathing. Inhale and start shifting your weight forward. This time, remove your block if you're using one and wiggle your left foot towards the outer edge of your mat. You could even let that knee swing out a little bit. If you're using a block, now bring it to the inside of that knee. Lizard lunge. Look forward and inhale, exhale. Start higher, and then only if your body's ready for it, you can start lowering down onto your forearms. You breathe in. Inhale and engage your core and start coming back up. I realize I just skipped our twist on the other side, so put your block and your foot back in a runner's lunge. So your foot is on the inside again. If you have a block, put it on the flat side, or if you don't need it, you can just do palm on the ground. Got to do our twist, so nice wide palm. Fingers all pressing down. Tuck your back toes. Inhale, and we're going to twist towards the left. If that's enough, you can stay there, or you can start to engage your core and leg and come off your knee. If your knee was up, lower it down, unwind, blocks out of the way, get that left knee back, and let's go into child's pose again. Let's do some puppy pose. So our legs can stay pretty much as they are, but let's start extending our arms forward and looking a little bit ahead, but diagonally kind of down. And take a few breaths there. Should be a nice back stretch. Let's plant the palms, tuck the toes, hover our knees for a few seconds as we breathe and engage our core. And then start walking our feet forward. Inhale, slow, 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 all the way up. Let's do a few standing poses, starting with Warrior One. Let's straighten our front leg a little bit towards the left side of the mat, toes facing forward. Take a nice step backwards with your right foot. Your right foot should be a little bit more towards the right side of the mat, so we're walking on train tracks, not on a tightrope. Your right toes can be facing a little diagonally towards the right, and your hips should be able to turn and sink more or less towards forward. At first, just start with straight legs and see if you're in alignment. Adjust your feet and your stance as needed. Keep your back leg straight. Inhale, and then exhale, start to bend into that front knee, your left knee. I like to start with my hands on the hips to make sure I'm tucking my hips as best as I can, under and forward. And then inhale, my arms up and look forward. Inhale and straighten your front leg and maybe take a little baby step forward. Re-engaging, making sure your tailbone's engaged, going more down and your hips forward. You can do this without blocks or something, but I really would prefer if you had blocks or maybe a counter or something in front of you. Put it on either side of your front leg. You're gonna inhale our arms up and exhale, hinge at our waist forward. A little bit of a micro bend in our front knee for pyramid pose. And bow forward. Check your hips. Did you twist like I just did? You may need to recorrect. Pretend like there's a little plate on your hips and back and you're trying to balance it. Inhale and engage your core. Maybe put your hands on your hip, a little bit of a bend in that front knee, and come up. And shake it out. We'll switch to the other side. So now our right foot comes forward with our toes facing forward. Take a generous step backwards, and our left toes are going to be a little bit towards the left. Remember, we're walking on train tracks, not a tightrope. So our feet should be kind of about hip width apart. Start with straight legs just to get used to the pose and adjust your feet as needed. You may need to shorten or lengthen your stance depending on your height and flexibility. Engage your core and try to drop your hips a little bit forward, tailbone down. Inhale, and on your exhale, start to bend your right front knee. I like to put my hands on my hips first, check my alignment, and then inhale my arms up. Take several breaths here. Straighten your front leg, maybe a little baby step with the back leg. Shorten your stance just a little. If you have blocks or a counter or something in front of you you can use, that would be great. Either side of your right foot. Check your stance, hips more or less forward, tailbone tucked under. Inhale, arms up. Think about hinging at your waist as you come forward. Little soft bend. This is a pose we tend to hyperextend in, so maybe a little soft bend in the front knee. And exhale, forward, fold forward. Remember, there's a pretend plate on your back. Try to keep as flat and straight as possible with your hips. Are you breathing? Inhale, engage your core and come on up. Take a little step forward and shake it out. Face sideways to your mat. Take a nice step with your left foot so it's facing towards your mat, or your right foot for you, your right foot, excuse me. And then a nice wide stance. Your left foot, your toes are going to be facing perpendicular to the mat. So your front toes are just pointing forward longwise, and your back toes are pointing towards the short side of your mat. Inhale, your hips are more or less facing towards me, your phone, camera, computer, whatever you're watching on, TV. And exhale, start to bend and lower into that front knee. Inhale, arms out to the side, a little engagement with your shoulder blades squeeze, and then exhale, look towards your bent knee, that direction. Inhale and come up. Exhale back into Warrior Two. If you have a block, you can use this for the next part, or you can just use your body. Exhale and bend your front arm, and you can land on your bent knee thigh. Your other arm comes towards the ceiling. Fingertips towards the sky. Extended side angle. You can keep your bent arm there, or you can straighten it, either just towards the floor or onto a block. Inhale and come up. Take a breath. And then exhale your knee back. This time when you inhale your arms up, flip your front palm face up, and then exhale, pivot back towards your straight leg. Are your legs burning and shaking like mine? Inhale and point both legs in, maybe stretch and shake a little. Hatha is sometimes called gentle yoga, but just because it's slower and gentle doesn't mean it's easier. Let's switch to the other side. So now let's point your opposite foot forward, or really towards the back end of your mat. Your other foot comes in. Double check your heel of your straight foot should kind of intersect right about the arch of your back foot, and you should have a nice wide stance. If you're a little tighter, your stance can be in a little bit more, and obviously depending on your height. Inhale and exhale. Hips are facing towards your device, towards me. Tailbone tucking down, engaging your core. Inhale and exhale, start to bend into that opposite knee with the toes facing forward. Inhale your arms, left and right. Engage your shoulder blades, squeeze them, and exhale, look towards the knee side, the bent knee. Keep breathing. Inhale and come up, rest for a moment. Exhale back into warrior two. Coming into extended side angle, you can first bend your elbow and lean on your knee. Bring your opposite arm, fingertips towards the sky, and breathe. You can keep your bent arm there, or see if you can straighten it and push a little bit against the front of your leg. If that's too much, come back to just leaning on the leg. Inhale, come up. Take a little pause. Inhale back to warrior two. This time, the hand that's towards your bent knee, flip your palm up towards the sky, and exhale, your whole body bends towards your straight leg. Reverse warrior. And inhale, come up. Heel toe your feet in a little bit. And let it go. Still keep a fairly wide stance, wider than hip width, with your toes facing out. Let's do some goddess pose. Arms out like a cactus or goalpost. Exhale and squat down nice and wide. Inhale up. Exhale, squat down. Inhale up. Exhale, squat down and stay. You can play around with lifting one heel and lowering. Lift the other heel and lower. Know where I'm going next? Both heels. A little bit of a balance check there. and lower and come up. All right, end of the standing poses. Let's make our way back to the floor. Let's lie all the way down and set up for bridge pose. If you'd like this to be supported, you can have a block or something handy. Bend your knees, feet, soles on the ground, lying on your back, hands, palms down. Try to wiggle your heels a little closer to your buttocks. Inhale and exhale, start to lift your hips off the ground. You can also now have a little bit more space to wiggle the tops of your arms and shoulders underneath you. And if you'd like this to be more supportive, you could put a block underneath your sacrum. Look up and take several breaths. Pushing on your forearms, the back of your arms, and your hands to help you. If you were using a prop, remove it and lower down. Inhale your right foot up. Exhale, bend the knee and place the right ankle on the left thigh. Either cactus or gold post your arms behind you, palms up, or if you have the space, you can completely spread out arms wide so your body and arms are making like a letter T. Inhale, maybe shift your hips a little towards the right as you then exhale and start to drop your foot towards the ground for a stretch. If it feels okay and not too strenuous, you could start to look the opposite direction to your right. Take several breaths here. Inhale, engage your core, start to unwind, bringing your feet back, coming to center, and pausing with both feet flat on the ground, maybe even letting your knees knock in for a little rest. Feet hip width apart if you moved them. Knees bent. Inhale your left foot. Exhale, bend that knee and let the left ankle rest on your right knee or upper thigh. Goal post or straighten your arms side to side, palms up. Inhale and maybe move your hips a little bit towards the left. Then exhale and let your knees fall towards the right. If it's not too strenuous on your neck, back, or shoulders, you could start to look in the opposite direction to your left. Take several deep breaths here. Inhale and engage your core. Start to move your body back to center. Unwind, feet down, maybe knees knock in, and rest. If you'd like a little bit of movement, maybe your knees windshield wiper back and forth a few times. So you're pointing your knees in one direction and then another. Back to center and pause. Inhale, maybe happy baby. So soles of the feet towards the ceiling. You can grab toes inside out of the foot if that's not reachable for you. Maybe your ankles or somewhere on your shins. You could stay still or move a little bit. Let that go. If you'd like any props for Shavasana, you can get them at this time. For instance, sometimes it's nice to have a blanket or bolster under your knees, especially if you have any low back pain. Maybe you lower the lights. Maybe put an eye mask over. Let your body lay back on the ground. Legs long, kind of splaying out. Arms at your side, palms up, receptive to the universe. Relax. Look up. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Give yourself permission to be supported by your props and the floor. And give yourself permission to rest. Just like Hatha Yoga, our life needs a balance, and sometimes we're active, but sometimes we need to rest for our body, for our mind, and for our spirit. Start to notice your breath again. Bring a little movement to your body, maybe wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe a nice good morning stretch. Bend your knees and slowly roll to one side and pause. Slowly and with control, start to make your way up to your seated position. Thank you so much for joining me today and giving Hatha Yoga a try. Hopefully you feel more relaxed and balanced, and you can take this from the mat to the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.